I am the height of fashion right now. And I knew that this had some piping hot tea in it.
She's here and she is a beauty.
Anytime somebody is in trouble, something blows up. Characters 5-star, world 5-star, but I don't want to read this book and I'm so bored. It's the first day of 2024, which means that exciting things are afoot. I'm feeling super motivated to get started with working on or like building strong foundations for my 2024 goals, whether they're my life goals or my reading goals. And in terms of exciting things, actually, before we get into my goals, I would like to bring you a message and also a giveaway from the sponsor of today's video. So I have teamed up with my pals over at Bellesa Boutique to bring you guys a giveaway where everybody is a winner. So keep your eyes peeled for the details. Bellesa Boutique is a bi-woman company that is on a mission to empower everybody to embrace, celebrate, and explore their sexuality. And they make really cute sex toys. In the past, I've showed off both their Pebble and also their Air Vibe Pro models, but today Bellesa has sent me a couple of new toys to introduce you guys to. The Demi One by Bellesa is a toy that works for all body types with an innovative and ergonomic design. The toy is whisper quiet and comes in a super discreet and aesthetically pleasing case that doubles as its charging station. The Demi Wand also has a flexible neck, is 100% waterproof and fits perfectly in your hand, giving maximum versatility. The Thump is a toy that provides all of the external clit stimulating vibes that you could ever need, with suction, thumping, and your standard vibrations, meaning this little toy truly does it all. And on top of that comes with Bellesa's improved Pleasure Jet technology. The targeted suction base is naturally complemented by Bellesa's True Feel vibrations, while the back of the pop grip benefits from innovative thump technology for natural clitoral palpitations. As always, it is ergonomically designed to fit perfectly into your hand and comes in a discreet charging case. And all of Bellesa's toys also come with their own charging cables. So if you think that Bellesa is a brand that you can vibe with, pun very much intended, you can head to the link down in my description box for your chance to win a gift card or a sex toy of your very own. And remember, everybody is a winner, so there isn't really anything to lose. Once again, a big thank you to Bellesa for sponsoring this video. So in terms of goal setting, it's the first of the year, it's a bank holiday, but I just never feel like I can chill. Like, I feel like I need to start this month, this year, in the way that I mean to go on. And I'm actually not a New Year's resolution kind of person usually. I believe that you can make change in your life at any point, and if you put so much pressure on the first day of the year, then you're actually more likely to set yourself up for failure. But at the end of the year, I like to wind down a little bit, and then by the time it does get to January, the first day of the year, I feel ready and like reinvigorated to get my life back on track, but also make changes. So in terms of life, one of my main goals, as you all know, like I've been on a fitness journey. My Peloton bike arrives on Thursday. I'm so excited. But my main goal for 2024 is like to get on top of my nutrition again, which will be a work in progress for sure. But I also want to be more active because like I work out every day, but I don't actually walk all that much. I do tend to go out with Brie at least once a day most days. Either me or Curtis like do walk because she is getting walked. It's just not always by me. But I kind of want to up that to me taking her out twice a day to make sure that I'm getting my steps in, because I want to be working on like at least 8,000 steps a day. Whereas I normally average between, on like an active day for me, I usually hit between 4 and 6. I'm self-employed, I work from home, so going outside if I don't have to, it doesn't happen all that often. But in terms of reading, I did outline my goals in my 2024 TBR video. It's mainly just like focusing on backlists, sequels, like very attainable goals, providing that I do keep on top of them. And I have actually added some really cool stuff into my spreadsheet. I'll see if I can like insert a little clip or something here. But essentially, if I'm hitting my goals in like the area of my spreadsheet where I fill in my like books that I've read, if I'm on top of my goals, then they'll light up green, and if I'm not, then they'll light up red, which is a really cool way to just like instantly see where I'm at with my goals. But to start this year off, I'm feeling some spicy romance, fantasy romance specifically, but we will see where the mood takes us, because I do want to continue to read a little bit spontaneously as well, with like a mix of like TBR and more mood reads to kind of just like keep things balanced. I don't want to get overwhelmed, but I do want to be doing a little bit more now that I feel more refreshed in general and less burnt out than I did a couple of years ago. So I have already made a mistake this year, and that was starting the audiobook of House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. My last book of the year was House of Earth and Blood. Both of these books are rereads for me, and I'm actually making a recap video for this like I did for House of Earth and Blood. I will link that one if you guys need a recap of both books before House of Flame and Shadow. They will both be up on my channel before the book is released. But I've already made my House of Earth and Blood recap, and I need to do one for House of Sky and Breath. But I listened to the audio of House of Earth and Blood and I enjoyed it so much that when I walked Bray this morning, I decided to try the audio of House of Sky and Breath, and it just immediately starts in a new location with like new political factions coming into the fray, and I was like, this is not it. Like, I can't listen to this and do other stuff at the same time if I'm going to make a detailed recap. So I am going to continue to listen to the audio, but I am going to read it at the same time while I build up my recap, and I'm getting started with this right at the beginning of the year so that I can do it in like smaller chunks and then have everything ready when it comes around to actually filming the video. But if y'all don't know what this series is, it is a urban fantasy romance series following a half-fae woman called Bryce Quinlan, who is tasked with investigating a series of murders because she has a personal tie to this case. Now, they thought that they caught the murderer like 2 years prior to the start of the story, but it now seems like the murderer is back at large. So the Archangel of Crescent City asked Bryce, who is a antiquities dealer, to look into the case because of her personal connection, and then because it's so dangerous, she's assigned the fallen angel Hunt Athalar to be her bodyguard while she's investigating. I love book one. I am so glad that I finished the year on it because it is my favorite book of all time. Book two I enjoy a little bit less. It does open up the scope of the plot a lot, which I like, but it brings characters that are side characters in book one to the forefront to really establish them. And then like when you get to the end of the book, you understand why so much time was spent on those side characters becoming more prominent characters in this book, but they don't need to be prominent characters in this book is the issue. They are going to need to be prominent characters in book three, but in this it kind of feels weird because they're not doing, I feel, enough for them to be as prominent as they are, but for them to assumedly play a very large role in book three, you need to get to know them a lot more in book two. So it has a lot of slow points like that, like a lot of stuff is dragged out. I feel in terms of the romance, like it's super fan servicey, the way that the romance is like dragged out through parts of this book, and the ending I don't love. And I am going to talk about at the beginning of my spoiler vlog for House of Flame and Shadow, I'm going to talk about exactly why I don't love the end of this, because a lot of people have commented on like my spoiler video for this and said like, oh, how can you not love this? Like, how can you not love the direction that this is going in? And it's like, I do like the general direction that this is going in. I just don't like that it's happening here. Like, I wanted more for these characters and this story than the direction that it starts to go in at the end of this book. Like, I wanted it to happen just a little bit later down the line than this book, you know? So I'm going to be chipping away at this. I'm probably not going to talk about it too much because it is a reread for me, but it is a sequel. Not that it counts, because it counts as a reread, not a sequel, even though it is, you know, both. But it is actually, this doesn't contribute to my 2024 goals at all, does it? Because instead of reading something new, instead of progressing, I'm repeating. So maybe we're not getting 2024 off to as good of a start as I thought we were going to. In terms of physical reads, I haven't decided yet, so I'm gonna have to check in a little bit later and let you know what I decide to pick up. But today, I'm not officially back to YouTube full time until Wednesday, but I have just finished editing last week's vlog because it needs to be done. It's going up tomorrow, and for the rest of the day, it's almost 10 AM now, I'm gonna go work on the renovations in my bedroom, which I also like as part of 2024. Like I want that bedroom done within the next like 2 months, and saying that I am away for most of February, so that is going to be difficult. I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna get the mist coat on the walls, which is literally the most boring thing because the bedroom's been like freshly plastered. It needs a watered down coat of emulsion to soak up before I can put any other emulsion on it. I'm not looking forward to it because it's super boring. I've also never mist coated before. I'm assuming like it's super easy because it really does not sound difficult at all, but I'm not looking forward to it because it's just not, in terms of renovation, in terms of decoration, it's probably the least exciting thing that I can do. The only thing I can think of that's less exciting than putting a mist coat on the walls is potentially sanding. I hate sanding. So I'm gonna go crack on with that. I'm gonna get myself ready, hoover up all of the bits and sweep up all of the bits of loose plaster that was left behind by the plasterers, and start mixing up my emulsion for that. And hopefully it won't take long. I have no idea how long it's gonna take, but I'm hoping it won't be more than a couple of hours because it's like a rough job. And then the rest of the day I'll do what I please. Probably read a book. That would be a good idea.
Honey, I like moving out of state. I went out of my mind. Took a few nights.
So as you can see, I am the height of fashion right now. I know it's stunning. It's my best look, but I have a shower cap on to protect my hair because the mist coat is so thin, and we are gonna have to mist coat the ceiling. And this is innovation. I'm real proud of this. This is a poo bag to protect my Fitbit because I've put contact lenses in so I don't get paint all over my glasses and have to clean that off. I've taken like my ring off and everything, but as we discussed this morning, I got to get those steps. So this ain't coming off. And you know what? I am actually really, really proud of this invention. I might trademark it. What's the thing called? Patent. I might patent it. I don't know what we'll call it, but maybe I'll think about that while I'm painting.
Out even trying. You said if follow dreams, didn't want to leave as much as you wanted. I'll go so I can face my fear, knowing you'll never care if I'm alone. Cause I couldn't sleep when you said it's everything else in your life, didn't care about anything. Middle of the week, 40 hours, and I'm dancing in the street, like you're now waking up in another person's room.
Mist coat is finished. That took way longer than I expected, guys. It is 3:45 and I think we started at about like 10:30, 11. Curtis obviously helped as well, but to do the entire room, I also used a lot more paint than I expected to, considering like it was watered down. But our next step is to obviously wait for it to dry. We'll come back tomorrow, and we have, I'm obviously not going to be able to find any. Okay, here we go. There's like little blobs. And also like a couple of drips that were, oh, that one came off. Can I get this one? Oh, fuck. Where's my brush? There we go. It's like it never happened, but that is actually going to leave a little bit of a mark. So yeah, we'll get the little bits like that and just sand them out to leave it smooth. And then there's like a scratch in the plaster, which I'm annoyed about because on the last day that they were doing the work, there was a massive bang, and he said that he dropped the radiator because the plasterers had left it here and then the joiner moved it back over here. But I reckon because that scratch is in 3 different places along the chimney breast, and also there was a chip off the skirting board, and there's also a scratch that matches the one above it. I think that he scratched my plaster when he did that, but we have some polyfiller, so there's like just a couple, not very many at all, it's a pretty good plastering job, but just a couple of like little dots that are gonna need filling in tomorrow. And then when that's set, we'll sand it down and we're ready for the first coat. I'm also gonna prime the skirting boards tomorrow because I can actually get all of those done. So my plan is to do the filling, the sanding, prime the skirting boards, and get the tester pots on the wall, because if I know for sure what colors we're doing, I can order the paint. And especially, I should realize I've got like a big streak of white paint here, especially the stuff for the skirting and the ceiling. That's 2 things that I can paint now before the coving goes up. So if I can just make sure that that shade of white, I think it's blackened, is the one that we got from Farrow and Ball. I'll show you tomorrow. But if I can confirm that that's the one that I'm doing, I can order that, click and collect from B&Q, and I can get started on the skirting and the first coat of the ceiling before we sort out the coving, which actually I'm going to give them a couple of days after New Year to recuperate. But I think on Wednesday I'm going to message them again and ask them to give me a date on when they're going to come and put the coving up, because your girl just wants this room done now, especially because I am going to Thailand at the beginning of February. I want to have the carpet booked in, so I want the coving up, all of the painting done, and the carpet booked in, or at least picked out before I go away, so that potentially they'll come and install it while I'm away, and then we can sort out like new furniture and stuff when I get back. I'm about to go upstairs, get changed and get cracking on the bedroom for today, but I have started a couple of books since the last time I I saw you guys. So I did need a physical read, and I've decided, I was like, should I do a cheeky mood read? And I was like, on the 1st of January, Becca, like TBR. Please. So I started Badlands by Stacey Marie Brown. I've been really keeping on top of my Patreon book club. I mean, I generally do, but it's normally like a little bit more last minute, and I feel like the majority of these books I've been reading them like at the very beginning of the month. They are quick reads, which does also help, but this one is the 4th book in the Savage Land series. It's a post-apocalyptic kind of fantasy romance that is set in a world where it's set in our world in Budapest after the veil between the lands of the human and the fae have fallen. Our main character is a human girl called Brexley, who is the ward of the king, and to give back to the people from her position of privilege, she is a human. She steals drugs and other goods from the trains that transport them from one side of Budapest to the other, and puts those goods like on the black market, so the profits go to the people who need them instead of lining the pockets of the elite. And one day when she is doing this, she is caught at the Fae checkpoint and ends up getting thrown into a maximum security prison. So along the way, she kind of discovers that the world really isn't as she thought it was, and that maybe the side that she's been working for, like the human side of this conflict, is not necessarily actually the best one. Saying that, these books are not necessarily the best ones, but they are a really good time. You've heard me say time and time again about the convenient ways in which the characters get out of situations in this series. I'm just going to tell you now, I didn't want to say it because I felt like it was spoilery, but at the point where I am now, I actually really don't think it is spoilers to tell you guys that there are a lot of explosions in this book. Like, I think there were 3 or 4 explosions in book 3, and the 14th word in this book is actually explosion. So Stacey Marie Brown, like, she likes to blow things up. Anytime any situation is heating up and it looks like it might potentially be dire, anytime our characters are backed into a corner, there is an explosion. That being said though, this series is just like really addictive, and I love that I kind of just like fly through them. It's like very no thoughts, head empty, but like a good time, you know? So I'm 38 pages in to this one, and then on my walk with Brie this morning, I did start an audio, because I have, over the last couple of months, I've always had an audio going because the ones I've been listening to have been very long, so they take me a long time to get through. But you all know, like, generally I am very picky about audio, so now I've got myself into this situation where I feel like I always want an audiobook because I've enjoyed listening to them, but nothing on my TBR is suitable to that because I am so picky with audio as well. I can't just listen to a random audiobook, like it has to be special or like really enjoyable to me in some way. So I started listening to Brittany's memoir, which has been on my list to listen to for quite some time, and I knew that this had some piping hot tea in it, okay? Like, I knew that going in, but I did not expect the tea to start pouring in like chapter 1 and 2. So I was shooketh on my dog walk today, and in the interest of like ramping up my step count for today, I think I'm going to, instead of driving, I normally drive to the supermarket. It's not very far, but it's just so I don't have to carry heavy bags back. It's like a 5 or 10 minute walk depending on which one I go to. So instead of driving there, I might walk and listen to some more of my audio, because I'm only actually picking up a few things for dinner today, so it's not like an issue carrying them back. So that's where we're at. Oh, in terms of House of Sky and Breath, enjoying my time, but it's taking me a while with me making the recap. Like, how thorough does a recap have to be? Because I felt like the one for book 1 was thorough, but I've almost typed out 2 A4 pages and I'm on page 70. So maybe I'm going a little too deep. I feel like I'm going to carry on, and then when I get to the end, I'm going to go through and like reevaluate what is actually necessary and trim it a bit. But that's taking me a while because every like chapter break, I have to go and like type up what actually happened in that chapter, you know? So that's where I'm currently up to. I don't imagine I'll be starting a new book for quite some time now that I have 3 on the go. But yeah, I need to go get changed. I hate sanding. I really hate it. I'm not a patient person, and sanding is far too much patience for me. So I am procrastinating on getting started with the bedroom for today. Like, I'm not even gonna lie about it.
Moved to a city where they don't know LA. I was being nice and I needed a change of pace.
Okay. I'm scared. This brush isn't very good either. Oh my god. Can we really paint all of the walls this color? Look. Hi, Ham. I don't think you should be in here. So, as y'all know, spontaneity. Every time I say spontaneity, the first time I try and say it, I get it like immediately wrong. Spontaneity is my enemy with everything apart from reading. Like, you know, I've been enjoying reading a little bit more spontaneously recently, but when it turns into like the structure of my day and like a break from my routine, I'm not a fan. And today is just like so up in the air. It's my first day back like properly making content, and I need to film 2 videos today. But my Peloton bike's arriving, which is really exciting, and also somebody is coming to collect my old bike, which I really thought I wasn't going to be able to get rid of. And like in the 11th hour last night, somebody messaged me and was like, hi, is like your bike still available? So that person is coming to collect my bike today, but they couldn't give me a time because they were waiting on a delivery slot for something that they're having delivered today. And when I woke up this morning, Peloton said that they were going to deliver at 12:30. I need to film, and I can't film under a time constraint because I get like really flustered and really stuttery. So I cleaned like the pathway to where my Peloton bike is going, moved the old bike out, got my shoe cabinet out of the hallway and stuff. Everything's in here now, and I'm feeling really claustrophobic, which also isn't gonna help with my filming. And I then went and got ready to film, and I was like, cool, I can get at least one of these videos done before the Peloton bike arrives at 12:30. And then they call me at 10. It is 10:25 now, so I need to be quick here, and I'm very aware of it. But they call me at 10 and they're like, cool, we're gonna be here at like 10:30 with your bike. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just change my plans again then. And then the person who's picking up my bike has also messaged me and said like that they have their delivery slot. So once the Peloton people have gone, I'm gonna arrange like what time they're coming. And meanwhile, my anxiety is through the roof and has been since last night because I don't know what I'm doing or when. It's all very minor stuff, but it makes me anxious. In other news though, I have been reading a little bit, quite a bit. I've been reading an okay amount, I feel. Like it's already been 2024 for my entire life, so I feel like I should have finished something by now, but it's only the morning of the 4th. But I did sprints with my patrons for like 4 hours last night, and for a solid 2 hours, like 2 hours of reading time of those sprints, I was working on House of Sky and Breath, and it's going to take me a long time to get through this book, guys, because I only made it to page 140 in that time, because obviously like I have to pause and fill in like the document I'm making for the recap video. It is slow going, and then I'm also like, I keep putting off picking this book up because I have to be sat at a computer, I have to be in the right mindset to be able to focus on it and like keep jumping between the document and the book. So my drive to pick it up is less than it would be if it was a case of obviously just like picking up and reading it. That being said, I am still enjoying this at this point, but we're just about, I feel, to get into the part where it starts to slow down quite a bit, as we're introducing a couple of those new characters that aren't particularly interesting in this book, but I feel are going to be like super prominent in book 3. I have read quite a bit of Badlands. I'm 240 pages into it, and this one has a little bit of a different tone to the other books, because we've had at the end of like book 3, there was something that very much changed like the equilibrium of like the main character, and she is now like trying to navigate this world, like this plot line, on like a different footing than she has been for the entirety of the series, which is causing her to ask more questions and for the people around her to kind of like puzzle out some answers to some mysteries that we've had going on since like the beginning of the series. Now, is all of this particularly well executed? Not necessarily, but it is interesting to have a little bit of a different vibe than the past 3 books. And also, if you watch the last vlog I did, I was saying that I didn't love like the spicy scenes in this book. There haven't really been as many in this one. Like, this has toned it down a little bit, as we are in this little bit of like a different state for the main character. I'm obviously being vague because I don't want to spoil you guys, but I still like want to give you some information on like what's going on in this one. So as usual, this is a no thoughts head empty book for me. I'm having a decent time while I'm reading it, but nothing like super profound is going on. So my aim right now, I'm just so excited for my bike to arrive. Like, I feel like I'm going to be working out now for the rest of my life after I film my videos. I kind of wanted the videos done before the bike arrived as well, because I'm obviously going to get distracted by the new shiny bike when it's here, and I need to get in the zone for filming. And they're not excruciatingly long videos I'm filming, but I'm anticipating like at least 45 minutes of footage for each. I'm doing my December wrap up and also my best books of the year, so it's not like it's going to be like a really quick like 20 minutes filming session is done and I can like figure out the bike, I'm gonna have to try and like get back in the zone after it's arrived, which that is really hard for me. Like if there's something that's like on my mind that I'm thinking about, I can't switch off and like set it aside while I do something else. It has to be like tackled in that moment, which is why when my anxiety was like real bad a couple of years ago, and also like last year, it's on and off, like I'm a work in progress. But when my anxiety was super bad, that's why it was really hard for me to read, because I can't switch off and read. Like I'm really envious of the people who, when their mental health is bad, can like lose themselves in a book, because I just don't have that level of focus. Because the thing that makes me anxious, which is also why anxiety is such a problem for me, because the thing that makes me anxious will not leave my brain and I just cannot like put it aside for a minute. It's constantly there. That was a lot of topics we covered in this vlog update. I will of course let you know when my bike arrives, but I'm gonna try and do my videos first. I'm gonna try and forget about the bike while I get the videos done, and then we can get excited about it later. Okay? Deal.
She's here and she is a beauty. I'm about to jump on and do a Jess King ride that starts at 3:30. It just so happened that when I did finally finish filming, I did come and like set it all up earlier because I couldn't resist. But I just finished filming, posted a Patreon post, and there is a 20-minute Jess King ride starting at 3:30. So I'm gonna hop on, try her out. She's all like set up to the right height and stuff. I do think we're gonna have to move it though, and it is gonna go upstairs eventually when the bedroom's done and like there's not stuff everywhere upstairs anyway. But when the tree is out, which will be coming down tomorrow, I think I'm gonna try and get it in that corner somehow, because with my other one I used to like bring it onto the rug when I was using it and then like lift, like look, I can't lift this with one hand, it's really heavy. It's like, even though it's technically I think a bit smaller, it is twice the weight of my old one, because the other one I would just like lift it and slide it to the side and then slide it out when I wanted it. This ain't moving, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. But for now I'm gonna get on, do my Jess King ride, and then I'll do like a 30-minute one out of my stack, and then I need to go pick my car up because it's in for its MOT today, which was another thing making me anxious. Kind of rightfully so, because it has failed, but it failed on something so minor that I'm actually kind of annoyed that they failed me on it and didn't just fix it real quick. Like my headlights needed cleaning, like they needed wiping over and it would have passed. So I'm actually kind of annoyed that they didn't just do that and pass me, but it's all sorted now and it's passed. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna go pick that up, and then tonight, just reading, I think. I'll take Brie out for a walk because I haven't been out today, but considering I haven't been outside at all today, I'm on 5,500 steps, which is crazy considering I haven't actually been super active either. But yeah, after dinner I'll take Brie out and then try and get through another chunk of House of Sky and Breath, I think. Or should I finish Badlands? We'll see what I'm in the mood for. Can I ask you a question?
No. Go on then.
Which one should I read now? Should I read some of Crescent City, or should I try and finish the other one?
Finish the other one.
Okay.
Then it's gone.
Thank you.
Good morning, guys. I stayed up quite late last night, and well, I was gonna say by my standards, but I think I was awake until around 1, so by all standards really, but especially by mine, because I'm usually asleep at like 11, and even on the weekend, like I'm generally asleep before midnight, if not just going to bed at the same time like that I normally would. But I stayed up so that I could finish Badlands by Stacey Marie Brown, which I did, and I think that this one might be my favourite book in the series. Maybe the first one could be, because the reason why this one stands out for me more than books 2 and 3 is I feel like it was significantly different to books 2 and 3 in the series, where books 2 and 3 were very, very repetitive. Now there are definitely repetitive elements in here. We're still using explosions to get us out of every problem. I'm actually surprised that there wasn't an explosion towards the end of this book, because literally any time somebody is in trouble, something blows up. So for somebody to be in trouble and for nothing to blow up, that was enough to make this like my favorite book in the series. But I'm interested to see where it goes from here. We definitely, I think I discussed, have destabilized the status quo for a little bit in this book, and that made it slightly more interesting to me because I didn't feel like I was reading the same thing over and over again. And in terms of like the plot beats, we had like a little bit of variety in there as well. Still very much like a no thoughts, head empty book. Still very much something I'm just reading to kind of be along for the ride. Interesting that this is my first book of the year, because I mentioned in, I think it was my 2024 TBR or my January TBR, that like some people put a lot of weight on their first book of the year. I typically don't, but then in hindsight I'm like, this doesn't feel like a super poignant start to 2024, you know. But I had a good time with it. I gave it 3 stars, and I just can't believe how on top of my Patreon book club I am at the minute. These books are so quick and easy to get through that I'm just like pretty much whizzing through them at the beginning of every month. House of Sky and Breath is a completely different story. I am still only on page 140 of this. I am going to be doing a couple of hours of sprints either this afternoon or this evening, where I'm gonna like kind of knuckle down and get through a chunk of this. But aside from the last sprints that I did and the very first day that I started this, like I am struggling to find the motivation to pick it up and get through it. So I feel like that is something that I'm going to be tackling throughout the month. And if I have to throw up like a bunch of sprints to get through solid chunks of it, then I mean, so be it. As long as it's done before the time that I have to have the video up, it's fine, because I'm not reading the 3rd book until the end of February anyway. So for my personal like refresh would be the word that fits, of the series, I'm actually going to make the video, the recap video for this, and then just watch my own videos back just before I start book 3 to get like a new up-to-date refresh on the series. But I wanted to kind of read something else. My plan for the weekend is to get through like a decent chunk of House of Sky and Breath, but I do also have a book that I've been currently reading for a long time. I don't even know if I've mentioned it in any videos. It's a romance, and I just kind of picked it up and I dip in and out of it when I don't even know when. Like I've been reading it very sporadically for months, and I'm not even super far into it. I'm just checking because I do have this out on Kindle Unlimited as well as the physical copy, so I need to check like where I'm actually up to. I'm like halfway through chapter 14, because I was actually just lying in bed reading it on my phone before I got up, because I did have a lie-in this morning because I was really overtired, if I'm being honest. So chapter 14, 128 pages into this book, and it is Stolen Air by Sophie Lark. So actually I have a Battlethon bookmark in here that Mel sent me, so I started this book in September and I'm 128 pages into it, and it's not because I'm not liking it or anything, it's just I've not really ever prioritized it the entire time I've been reading it. So this one is the 2nd book in the Brutal Birthright series, is it, by Sophie Lark? Yeah, which is a series of mafia romances focusing on the Irish and the Italian mafia in Chicago, or like the fictional mafias of Chicago. So this one is following the daughter of the Irish mafias family, I think. And it's also a little bit of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So she is kidnapped by this guy who I think is from the Polish mafia of Chicago. Chicago has all of the mafia, okay? And she's captured by one of the guys from the Polish mafia because he has a score to settle with her family. She's a dancer and he keeps her in his home, like she has this entire wing of the home to herself, and obviously like it's a romance, so they're gonna grow closer at some point throughout here. But the setup is that he kidnaps her and holds her captive while he essentially messes with her family as a revenge plot. So I read the 1st book in this series and I actually really enjoyed it because Sophie Lark has this really compelling, addictive writing style, and I actually wasn't swept away by the romance in the 1st book or anything, but I just really enjoyed reading it because Sophie Lark writes that kind of like addictive story that I just eat up. So I'm hoping to finish this by the end of the weekend. It's been on my currently reading for so long that I finally just want to, you know, focus on it and have it off, because it kind of low-key annoys me having books on my currently reading and then just never taking the time, especially because this will be such a quick read as well, to just get them read. But actually we have a little bit of a theme here outside of romance because everything is blue. I know that this is a white cover. Ow, I just hit myself in the face. But the only like real colour on it is blue. So we love theming. But today I do very much want a cozy weekend. I'm not really planning on going out, but I am going to go take Bree for a walk, get some cleaning done. I also need to put the sample of the white paint on the wall to make sure, I mean, it's a white, I don't think it's going to offend me, but just to make sure that we are going to go with that colour, and then I can actually order the paint for the walls. And still no news on the COVID, but we'll sort that out next week, I guess.
This list because realistically I've put them all off for some reason or other. See you all on the other side.
Do I have my book? no idea what I've done with my book. So I have been sat here pretty much all day doing a variety of activities. It is Sunday, and Sunday is my day where I have no obligations, no step goal, I don't exercise, I don't, if I can get away with it, I literally don't do anything apart from activities that I enjoy, and I normally put them in a little circuit and move around them, which is pretty much what I've been doing today. So I've done some of my jigsaw, I've played some Baldur's Gate, I'm gonna play some more when I'm done here, and I've dipped in and out of a couple of books, one of which I finished. I've also been watching Ali's sprints from Hardback Harder. She's doing like another 12-hour sprint stream, which has also been fun because I just feel like I don't get enough time to tune into other people's sprints. So when like Ali's streaming on the weekend, like I do like to check in for a few hours. And the book that I finished, of course, is Stolen Air by Sophie Lark. So I told you guys this one was a quick read, and once again, like with the first book in this series, I do enjoy the romance, and I enjoyed the romance in this one a little bit more than I did in book one, but that's not the reason why I eat these books up. Like the reason why I'm flying through this is not because I'm swept away by the relationship in here. I do think that Sophie Lark writes some pretty good smut. Like I don't feel like it's too over the top or gratuitous. It doesn't go on for like pages and pages and pages, but like what is there is solid. Like I enjoy it. I don't even love the plots. Like mafia plot lines don't interest me all that much, but the way that Sophie Lark tells a story, I love it. Like I eat up the entire thing. So I don't even remember what page I was on. Was it yesterday when I told you I was reading this? Maybe like 130 or something. I think I was like somewhere around here. This is 128. So I've read like 200 pages, and I honestly don't even think I've spent that much time reading. I feel like I've spent more time trying to get through House of Sky and Breath, and I've read like 50 pages of this one. I did give this one 3 stars where I gave book 1 4. Once again, I feel like that is a reflection of my rating system. I am a little bit more stingy with my 4 and 5 stars these days, mainly because I always thought that a 3-star read was a bad thing. Like to give something 3 stars to me felt mediocre, so that's what I was using it for, but I felt like I needed to utilize 1 and 2 stars a little bit more. So I rate books that I actually like genuinely like 3 stars now, instead of ones that I'm very like on the fence about. I am excited to continue on with this series. At this point, I am reevaluating what books I need to own and what books I can read through other measures. Like I'm paying for Kindle Unlimited and I'm not using it because I have physical copies of KU books. So I don't know if I'm gonna collect the rest of the books physically, but then what that does is it means that I don't prioritize them, because I'm always prioritizing books that I own because I have too many books and I want to clear through them and I spent money on them, so I should read them. This one was a gift from Cassidy though, so thank you very much to Cassidy. But yeah, I will definitely continue on with Sophie Lark. There's a lot of Sophie Lark books that I really want to read, but I'm not sure that I am going to end up owning like the entire collection physically, especially at the minute where like I am feeling super ambivalent about romance. Like I enjoy, like I said, the smut in here, but a lot of romance, a lot of like spicy content especially, is like a real big miss with me these days, which is unfortunate. So in terms of, because we are wrapping up this book here, in terms of how much of House of Sky and Breath I made it through, I wanted this done today. Like on Monday, that was my plan, to have this done by today. I can confirm I am on page 206. Like it's hard for me to talk about this book because I don't like it, but I still like it. Like I still adore the characters, and it's like, it's a 5-star book in terms of the characters. I love the character interactions. I love them as characters. I love the world, but it's also really boring, and it's so hard for me to talk about, to say like characters 5-star, world 5-star, but I don't want to read this book and I'm so bored. Like it's hard for me, like I can't even reconcile those feelings, never mind like articulate them. So it is definitely slow going. I do have the recap video for this going up later in the month, so I am gonna have to read it before that date, but I am gonna take this on as more of a long-term project than I originally anticipated. I did pop up some Patreon sprints last night where I got through 50 pages in 2 hours, so I feel like I'm going to continue to pop up like some short Patreon sprints throughout the month to help me like solidly chip away at this, instead of reading it like I would just pick up a normal book and read, you know, because having to be so mentally tuned into it and also near a computer so that I can work on the recap document, I'm taking my time and listening to the audiobook as well while really helping me focus when I'm reading it is
making it a slower process than like it already is. That is my first week of 2024. Is the new year off to a good start? I mean, we've had 2 3-star reads, but I feel like I've had a pretty chill week. In terms of my life goals that I was talking about, everything's going well. I've exercised every day apart from today. Nutrition, looking good. Step goal, fantastic. I haven't missed a single day apart from today, where like literally when I tell you I haven't moved, 1,800 steps. At 4 p.m. today, I was on like 800 steps. Like I literally had barely moved. But Sundays are my free days. Like I allow myself Sundays so that it doesn't feel like too much, you know, because I feel like holding yourself to a certain amount of standards continuously can really start to grate on you, and then you'll start to feel bad like if you miss a day. So I do allow myself Sundays, like when I don't have anything on, to just relax and do whatever I want to do without feeling any guilt, and like it's really good for my mental health. So that's where I'm at. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog. If you've made it this far, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video once again, which is of course Bellesa. And please don't forget that you can enter a giveaway to win some toys or gift cards for yourself by heading into my description box and clicking on the link. But aside from that, guys, please don't forget to like this vlog if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.